So that's the cover, which is beautiful, which is a very different Sam than the one on the cover of your first record.
It's inspired by, I was in the Saatchi gallery and I saw this Chuck Close image of this man, black and white, smoking a cigarette. And I loved it. It was just so raw.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be all untouched.
So Too Good at Goodbye, song number 1 on the records. That song we've kind of talked a little bit about. Where did it feature in the overall composition of the record?
I wrote it halfway through the writing process.
Okay.
It's weird talking about this song now.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much a song can change if you bring it out and hear people singing it, because it's now feels like it just feels beautiful to me.
Say It First. Now, do you remember my reaction when you played that to me, that song you did with Malay the first time?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that song so much.
It's the only love song I've ever written.
Huh.
Yeah, it's the only love song. And I look back on that and I couldn't listen to that for a long time because I was with the guy who it's about. And it was this moment where my feelings were getting a lot stronger.
Right.
I remember just thinking to myself, I can't say it until he says it. And now I look back and it's really sad, and because I know I couldn't say it because I think deep down I knew that he wasn't gonna.
Right. You're protecting yourself.
Yeah, because he never did say it.
He never did, didn't he?
No.
The whole time.
Yeah, no. But it's the song, when you listen to it, I was in such a hopeful, beautiful place.
You know, it's one of those sort of roads that a lot of people walk down. It's one of the most well-trodden paths as a songwriter is to write about love. It's something that everybody feels on a day-to-day basis, and yet it's something that you seem to be protecting yourself from writing about until you actually feel that you can do it with a real authenticity.
Yeah, I don't want to write about being in love unless I'm really in love with someone and they love me back. And then who knows? I always say that I'm never going to write a happy song, but I've never... the happy love song.
Well, that's really sad because maybe you haven't felt that.
No, I haven't.
Yet.
I haven't. Oh. I genuinely haven't.
I certainly forget sometimes that in order for you to get to that place, I'm missing the nuance of this whole experience, which is that you haven't had a chance to write that album yet.
No, but my mum always says to me that it's not my time yet. I'm 25 and I've only actually been I didn't meet any gay people till I was 18. So I've only been kind of dating for 4 or 5 years properly, you know? So I don't think it's my time yet. I think when it comes to romance and love, I'm very young.
You worked with Malay on that song, right, on Say It First?
Yes.
He's on a couple of tracks.
Yes.
How was
amazing.
that? Yeah.
Amazing guy. Really magical person. He came to Ireland with me and Jimmy as well to write. We wrote Midnight Train with him there. And he's just so much fun. With me and writers, the time we spend together outside of the studio is just as important as the time in the studio. And with Malay and with Pooh Bear and Tyler Johnson, I met all of them before the writing sessions. I went to Nando's with Malay and I went to Carluccio's with Pooh Bear and we all had lunch and chatted and spoke before we got in the studio.
How many songs on this record did you make?
In total?
Yeah.
Me and Jimmy together, I think, wrote about 70. And then there's another 60 that I wrote without.
What?
I think.
So you have a hard drive
maybe
full
more
of...
with Jim.
Will any of these
over 120, between 120 and 130 songs.
So will any of them ever see the light of day?
No. But remember, this isn't all in 1 year. This is in 3 years of writing. Because I was writing in the lonely hour.
Do you ever go back and listen to old demos or anything for inspiration? You just let them go? Let's go to one last song. The last song you're ever going to write about the individual in question on the first record. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah. There was a moment towards the last 3-4 months of writing this album where I'd written so much about this guy that I was in a relationship with that I just couldn't even speak about him anymore. I was so tired of it. And the guy who I wrote the first record about started to leak back into my mind, and I didn't like it. I've written enough about him. I've thought enough about that situation. So I was with Jimmy and Tyler Johnson in Nashville. I remember I was really angry that morning. I said to Jim, I was like, I'm angry today. And I was really honest with him, and he was like, I can feel you. And we got in the studio, and I was like, we're going to write an angry song. And it turned into that.
Yeah.
So there's an angst in that song when you listen to it. I was just sick of being in that headspace, thinking about this guy. So I said, that is the last song I'm writing for him, and it is.
Midnight Train.
The making of that song is one of my favourites. It was me, Malay and Jimmy were in Ireland. We had a night out, the night before we were in this pub and we had a lock-in and we were drinking so much Guinness. And we woke up the next morning and I was just like, I'm 100% not writing because I'm too hungover. I can't think of anything worse than trying to dig deep and write a song right now. And we were all like, Malay was lying, planking basically on a sofa, I remember when I walked to the studio. But then we all got up and he played me Love and Happiness by Al Green. And I'd never heard it. And I was like, whoa. And then Jimmy got on the drums, Malay started playing on the guitar, and I had a mic stand with a mic, and the mic wasn't even plugged into anything. I was pretending to be some sort of pretending to be Al Green, I think.
Yeah.
And then it just came. That song is ad-libbing. All the melodies are just ad-libbing.
Can you imagine if you hadn't done the work that day, if you'd just gone and got a McDonald's and went to sleep?
Mad. And do you know what the worst thing as well? I sent that email with Midnight Train to my team and never heard back from anyone. So 2 weeks later, I was in the office with my team and I was like, well, you didn't like Midnight Train, did you? And they were all like, we haven't heard Midnight Train. The email didn't even send.
It didn't send. Did you spend those 2 weeks just like,
guys, that's a classic. If I never mentioned it, that song would never have got sent.
Burning is a very important moment, and you mentioned that before as being a very integral part of this record.
Yeah.
A cornerstone of this record. If Stay With Me was kind of the cornerstone of the last record.
Yeah. It's the most personal lyric I've ever written in my life. You reach your limit, I wasn't enough. You reached the limit, I wasn't. But that song to me is about fame, and that's about when I got dumped, I got really sad. And then when I get sad, I think about everything else that makes me sad. That was the only time in my life I haven't been able to write music. And I went to New York with my sister for her birthday, the day after I got dumped. And for 6 weeks straight, I consumed a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You just partied hard.
Yeah.
And I was going out a lot. And I got back to London after this holiday and I had all these writing sessions put in with people and I cancelled for about 2-3 weeks. Oof, really unprofessional of me.
Wow.
And really bad of me. But I wasn't in the right headspace to go in the studio. I was really self-destructive and going out too much and getting with people and giving myself away too easily. And I was just burning. It got to a point where my manager was like, look, I know I can sense you're going through something. You need to get back in. Just try it. Just go in for one day. And I remember just being like, it's only 15 minutes away from this house. But I remember being hungover, being like, I don't even want to go in the studio. Got up, forced myself to go in, walked into the arms of Pooh Bear, who in that situation, he was just the best person. I think if I walked in with Jimmy at that point, it wouldn't have worked because he's too close to me.
Too close.
And I love him too much.
Yeah. What's the first thing you said to him? Because you're an honest guy. I can imagine it had some impact.
Talking about smoking. That was the big thing. I was smoking a lot of cigarettes. That's what the lyric is. I've been smoking 20 a day.
It's a really good song.
Blame it on rebellion, don't blame it on me. That's my favourite because that sums up that whole feeling of being in your throat, and it's kind of... That song, it's about that sadness. I started thinking about everything, and it was the only time where I've questioned my job and whether I want to do this forever. And where I've...
Why? What's it got to do with the job?
Because a guy dumped me because someone didn't want to be with me because of my life.
That's an excuse.
I think it is too. He just wasn't, that's what my mum says, he just wasn't that into you.
Yeah.
But I still find it hard to sing that song. For me, that song is important. People need to know how delicate that is. In London, though, at the show, there was this drunk woman who I was singing Burning, and she was just clapping by herself all the way through.
This is not the time to do that.
Ruined the song.
Like,
I was like, I'm trying to be serious here.
Oh.
Woo! Oh my God. And it's also the best as well when I'm singing really super lonely songs and people are necking each other in front of me. Snogging.
You totally missed
the point. Guys.
Let's talk about him.
So at this point of the album, when at the track listing, I go into this deep place, but there is a breath of fresh air in a minute.
Yeah.
Him is turned into something else since people were hearing the record.
Yeah,
it's mad.
yeah.
This was originally going to be on was going to be a bonus track.
Right.
Because this song has been with me now for 3 years. I went gay clubbing in Sydney, and one of my best friends, Trent, lives in Australia, and I spend a lot of New Year's there. And we go out, and I don't know, I feel so welcome there, and I feel so proud to be gay when I'm there. I remember I was in the shower the morning after, and the lyrics to him came to me. And then I went straight to the venue I was performing in, which was the arena there, and I went to the dressing room and we recorded him.
There and then.
And that's the vocal, yeah.
Baby, You Drive Me Crazy.
That song is about me I was outside on my table in my garden when I got dumped on the phone. And I was
on the phone?
Yeah, and I was with my best friend, and I immediately put down the phone, and my best friend was like, go and get a bottle of wine. We're gonna forget about it for one night. And we just had the most beautiful night. Nothing negative. We went out dancing, and my sisters were with me, my best friends, and we just had a really beautiful night. I put it on the back burner for one night.
I don't know how you did that.
And that's what the song is.
That's amazing.
It's like, let's forget about this, so I'm not going to think about you till tomorrow. That's what the song is.
Let's talk about No Peace. Now, since we have spoken, and you told me that you'd done a duet, and you mentioned it was with a new artist called Yebba, who some people who will be watching this or listening to this will know who Yebba is.
Her name's Abby Smith.
That's right, yeah, exactly, Yebba backwards. It's starting to happen, people are starting to talk, there's music out there online, performances online of her performing, and it's really remarkable stuff. How did you come to work with Yebba? Why did you decide, or Yabby, why did you decide to work with her?
I was in LA, and my friend sent me a YouTube clip, and he was like, you're gonna love this, and I played it, and I'd just gone through the breakup, and I was like, whoa. She sang with her body, and her voice sounds like a heartbreaking. It's mad. And I just wanted to meet her. And she came to London, which was so beautiful and amazing of her to come. And it was like two mates just sitting outside the studio, having a cigarette, talking about boys. That's literally what it was about. And we got back in the studio, and it was me, her, and Jimmy. And Jimmy played these chords, and we just started fighting each other, basically, in a way, vocally. And I'm so proud of that song. It's the last song I wrote for the album. My session with her was my last session I did for the writing session. I haven't done one since. And she is sensational.
Were you looking for a duet on the record, or was it simply because you fell in love with Yebba and what she does?
I'm always looking for a duet, because I always want to be like Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston. But nothing has ever fit.
Have you tried them before?
I mean, I don't know if I should say this, but she's the only voice that's excited me in a long time as a singer, other than Jasmine Sullivan. Jasmine Sullivan and her voice are the only ones that physically moved my core in a long time.
Let's talk about Palace.
Palace is one of my favourites. It's a song I wrote with Cam.
Oh, yes.
The country singer, and Tyler Johnson in Nashville.
Yeah.
And she was playing guitar. That song's about, to me, that's like a song looking back on all the ghosts of my past, all the ghosts and the lovers. It's a really happy song for me. Again, sounds miserable, but it's a happy, hopeful song.
Pray is a real moment. Tell us the story behind that, because I feel like this is going to be one of those songs that people will remember.
So it's very deep. I went to Iraq in this year off with War Child, and I went to 4 refugee camps on the outskirts of Mosul.
So they approached you and they said...
I approached them. I did a gig with Marcus Mumford for War Child in London, and I sang Stay With Me there. And I went back into the audience afterwards, and I heard some of these stories from some refugees, and I was just like... So I got through to War Child, and I was like, I want to be a part of this. And then we started talking, and then they suggested, well, look, you have to go out. It was so devastating, but changed my life. Never seen kids as happy as that in my life, and it was just an amazing trip. But I came back and was finishing up on the record and felt embarrassed that I didn't have anything on this record that was speaking about what was going on in the world or the times that we're living in, because we are living in a pretty mad time right now. It's all about me and about my relationships and about love, and it's what Nina Simone said, right? You've got to. How can you be an artist and not speak of your times? And so for me, the album was done. I was exhausted from writing. I'd written 120 songs, 30 songs. I was exhausted, but I was in LA with Jimmy, and I knew that if I was going to write anything else, it had to be something what I'd just seen. And we were in our house, and me and Jimmy just started playing around, and this song just appeared. I can't explain it, just came out of nowhere. And lyrically, it's almost like when you have nothing to say, you have everything to say. And we wrote the lyrics, we wrote the song, and I was like, this is beautiful for album 3. I was like, I can't record anymore. And then we had a Timbaland session that week. After my experience of working with people that I was a fan of, I went into that session thinking, it's going to be because I was like, I've worked with my idols before and it didn't work out. So I went to the session, and was I wrong? We connected. We just connected. And I was sitting in the studio and I was humming Pray. We weren't even going to use that song. I was humming it because it was in my head. And he was like, what's that? And he took me and Jimmy into the room and we performed Pray to him, which was so scary, singing for Timbaland. And then he was like, I've got the beat. And he went into the room and he smashed it. We went into that mid-late, and it became... That mid-late to me is my favourite part of the record,
I think
musically.
So.
I'm never going to write a record as personal as this again.
The thrill of it all?
That's actually about the relationship I was going through during In the Lonely Hour tour. That's about getting lost in the thrill of it all, getting lost in fame. And then One Day at a Time is, to me, the real ending. And that's a love letter to my friends about Hampstead, about the Heath.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's about sitting on the Heath with a cigarette, a bottle of cider, and being with my friends.
It's a lovely way to end the record, I'm sure, but it's not entirely, without its irony, because now you're about to go out on the road and those moments are going to become fleeting for some time. You've done these underplay shows. You ended the last tour in arenas. I'm sure that's already in play and ready to go. You're thinking about production, thinking how you're going to present it, because the last album, you were very very faithful to the record, and you presented yourself as a singer of those songs. Yeah. Now you've got 2 albums. Are you going to be flying out in a harness over the crowd with explosions and pyro?
There's going to be elephants on stage.
Exactly.
No, I'm going in.
You are?
I'm going in. It will always be about me singing, but I'm really excited about the production.
Yeah.
I want it to be special. I want it to be theatrical and romantic. Just want people to go out, and I want it to feel almost like a religious experience.
Last night I was talking away to somebody and we were talking about like stadium shows. And we were saying, all right, so Muse did it, Foos did it, Ed's done it, Killers have done it. There's people who can walk into stadiums and hold down J Bay. But would you do it?
I, as a person, am very emotional, but I'm also hungry for this. And I saw George Michael open Wembley Stadium at 15 years old. That in that moment, I was in the very back seat at the top. I decided that I wanted to be a pop singer. That stadium is my dream. It's my absolute dream, and I don't even like talking about it sometimes because I'm scared, because if I don't ever perform it, I would be so heartbroken.
I think you just got to do it.
I want to do it so bad.
I think you just got to do it.
But the people have got to want to come, So fingers crossed, who knows? But that is my ultimate dream, to play Wembley Stadium.
Do you remember when you told me the name of this album, The Thrill of It All, right back at the very beginning?
Yeah.
You told me that you sort of had the album title in the first album too, very early on. Do you have the third album title?
Yes, I actually do. I have the third album title, and I'm going to arrange some writing sessions because I'm ready to write. I've been writing.
You can tell us what it is?
No.
Out of all of this honesty and all of this forthcoming experience, we're going to end on restricted flow of information. That's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to be. I wanted it to be a bit of more of a breath of fresh air. I can't go as deep as I did again.
Wow.
Because it's
So
not.
you're going to have your policeman's outfit dancing.
It's going to be my policeman's outfit dance time. Some sexy club tunes maybe.
Yeah, it's time, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations, the thrill of it all. Sam Smith, new album. I've loved talking with you, as always.
As always.
Yeah, I'm really glad we got a chance to go deep
Thank
and
you
talk
for
about
being
life.
here.
It's a total pleasure, and all that's to come.